Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl Erica, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Monday. I know that sometimes it's a little difficult coming off of the weekend and then starting a new week, but today is Monday, and I'm hoping that you're having a wonderful day thus far. I'm here to do my weekly review of Married to Medicine. This is season 11, episode 9, and it was called From the White House to Key West, Florida. I'm sorry, to Key West. I hope you can actually see me. Like I said, of course, I've said it just a few times in my videos that I'm trying new things. I am in my office recording. I'm trying to be a little more comfortable. As you can see, I'm sort of sitting sideways in the chair. I try to zoom in just a little bit so that you can see me well. I do have a ring light, but again, I just wanted to make sure that you can see me and hear me. I didn't want to be completely in your face, but I didn't want to be so far away that you couldn't see me either. So I hope the setup is okay. Like I said, I'm just trying it out. Again, it's trial and error, but I want to get there, guys. So anyway, let's get started with the review. Again, like I said, it is called From the White House to Key West. And it was a pretty decent episode. I think some people were kind of saying that they didn't really enjoy it. To me, it's typical Married to Medicine. I don't know what a lot of other people expect. I've been watching the show for years. This is just what they do. Normally, the episode before they actually go on vacation, or that episode that they actually travel to their destination. The first part of the episode is pretty slow because it's kind of like the build up to them getting on the vacation. So it was typical Married to Medicine for me, but the episode started off with Toya and Dr. Eugene. I like to shout out Dr. Eugene. He's a native Washingtonian and he's a Howard Bison. And of course, I'm from Washington, D.C., and I'm a fellow Bison. So shout out to Eugene. But anyway, the episode opened up with them. And Toya had picked up her youngest son Avery, and Dr. Eugene came in the house with their oldest son Ashton. And Dr. Eugene greeted Toya with a kiss as a normal, husband or wife would. You see them and you give them a kiss when they come in the house. And Toya kind of wanted a little more. And that kind of opens it up for a dialogue because, Toya and Eugene have been on the show. I really like them. But at the same time, I think Toya somewhat has a distorted view of affection. Toya maybe feels like a man has to be rough with her to make her feel like she's really wanted and loved. Don't get me wrong. I'm a woman, and yes, we love, a man with some edge. But, at the same time, they were in front of their children, and I don't know, Toya wanted Eugene, to manhandle her, to smack it up, flip it, and rub it down in front of the kids. But Eugene has always been very respectful of Toya in that way. He never does anything that, would disrespect his wife in front of their children. And I can appreciate that. We've all been children before and teenagers. And I'm sure some of us, whether it was our parents or our grandparents, I think you need a healthy balance. There's nothing wrong with kissing in front of your children, but of course, no one wants to see their parents having like a serious makeout session. I don't think Avery and Ashton want to see Dr. Eugene smacking Toya on the butt or grabbing her butt as they kiss. So, Toya, I was like, girl, let it go. At least you got a kiss. There are some women who, wish their husbands would even just do what Dr. Eugene did. So in that way, I think, Toya, you are loved. You are appreciated by your husband, but he's just not, an openly affectionate guy where he's going to do that on camera. So I think Toya has to kind of cut Eugene some slack. She's always kind of saying, oh, Eugene was never my type when I was, a teenager. Eugene would have never been my type, but he's your type now. And he's giving you a good life. He's been a good husband to you. I'm sure your marriage hasn't been perfect, but at the same time, you wouldn't trade Dr. Eugene for anything. His character now is what means more to you. Maybe back in the day, it was about a man and his looks and, him being a roughneck and all of those things. But would you really be where you are today, Toya, had you chosen that kind of guy? I don't think so. So, Toya, let it go. But anyway, they also had a cute little conversation. Dr. Eugene was kind of joking around with Avery, and he was saying, well, Avery's the one with all the girlfriends, so maybe I need to get some tips from him. And they were just kind of talking about their parenting styles and how they grew up, or how what they were introduced to, when they were younger. And I think I really appreciated what they were saying. Like, okay, we know that you're human. You're a teenager. Avery, you may like girls and stuff like that, because they were saying like he's on his fourth girlfriend. But I like the fact that they were telling him, we don't want you to go too far. And I like that, because we live in 2025. There's a lot going on nowadays. And, you don't want the kids to be exposed to too much. They already see and hear everything. And you definitely don't want your children to get involved with something that they're really, really not ready for. So I could really appreciate that, wholesome family conversation that they had. It is good for TV. It is just good, period, because we need to see, moms and dads really telling their kids, hey, take your time. You had plenty of time for certain things, and focus on what's important. And right now, it's the most important thing is about getting your education. Sure, you're going to be social, but get your education and enjoy your little young teenage life. So we go on, and then we see Dr. Jackie. She's at home. And again, I mentioned in my last video that I like seeing Jackie at home. We normally see Dr. Jackie in the office, but she was at home, and she was making like virgin margaritas or daiquiris because Heavenly was coming over. Just a side note, I love Dr. Jackie's confessional looks. I think Dr. Jackie, she is just such a class act. She dresses really, really nice. I saw Dr. Jackie with the cute little Chanel heels, and they were very age appropriate for her. She's not trying to be young or anything like that. But Dr. Jackie, I love the animal print boots, that she's been wearing. Dr. Jackie looks really, really, really nice in her confessional. So I just wanted to say that. But anyway, Heavenly arrives, and, they're sitting in Dr. Jackie's backyard. And so Jackie tells them, or she tells Heavenly that she got a call from the White House. She was invited by Vice President Kamala Harris, and they're going to have like a panel, or they're going to have a discussion about women's health and, of course, women's rights. We all know about Roe v. Wade and how it was overturned. And so Dr. Jackie was kind of explaining that to Heavenly and how she felt honored to be invited to this panel discussion. And she teased Heavenly because she told Dr. Heavenly that she had already invited Dr. Simone. Well, Dr. Simone is the perfect person to go because, of course, she is an OBGYN. And I thought it was an honor for two Black doctors, female doctors, to actually go and just take part of this, or just even be informed about what's really going on. Of course, they're already informed, but just even to gain more information and more knowledge, and to hear what the Vice President of the United States had to say about it. I thought that was like very, very good. Like, I was proud of them for actually going or being invited to something like that. And of course, Heavenly seemed to be like a little like jealous that she didn't get the first invite, but Heavenly could have been playing that up. I'm sure Jackie had already told her before they actually shot the scene that she was going. But of course, Heavenly was like, I'm your BFF, like, you're going to invite Simone, before me. But Heavenly, even if you had not gone, it would have been okay, because Dr. Simone is an OBGYN. She works side by side with Jackie in that field. Not that they are, working under the same practice, but just in the OBG, in the medical field, they actually do the same thing. So if Heavenly could not have gone, I don't think it would have been like the worst thing in the world. It has nothing to do with her friendship with Dr. Jackie. It would just be the fact that, hey, she just could not go on this particular trip. But I was glad that they were all able to go and that they were all invited. So that was really like a little nice scene. So we move on, and Phaedra was on a little date with the guy named Czech. We remember Czech from last week's episode, and she met Czech. He was from West Africa. He was a younger guy. She met him at Sweet Tea's Jackie's little mixer, or she had like this little sweet and savory event. It is for young women who wish to date older men. I don't know how successful it was. I don't know if anyone really made a connection, but it seems as though Phaedra took a little interest in this guy named Check. So Check was just talking to her, and initially he was asking her a few questions, but then he told her that he knew Apollo, her ex-husband, and of course his wife. And Phaedra was kind of, I could tell Phaedra was taken aback by that. Phaedra's very good. She's stoic and she's very good at playing things off. I don't know how she really felt about that, but she was, kind of like just played it off and said, "Oh, okay, really?" Yeah, he's a man, he's out and about, but Phaedra really does not want any connection to Apollo, and we'll get to that even a little more in the episode. We'll talk about that a little more, but yeah, she doesn't want to be connected to Apollo in that way, but she just kind of went along with it. What I thought was really funny about it is Phaedra was saying how she's now dating like a white woman. She was kind of saying that she tends to go out with men, and she'll hold their hand and she'll let them pay for dinner or pull out their wallets and pay for whatever she wants. And I thought that was just funny. To me, it's Phaedra parts, but it was funny because nowadays there is somewhat, and we've, heard this all across social media. There's like an expectation that if you go out on a date with a guy, or you go out on a date, that, some sort of sexual encounter should happen. And that is simply not true. There are some times where it's your first date of many. Sometimes it could be your first and your last date because there's really no connection. Sometimes it is strictly platonic. You will, gain a friend out of it, and it will be something that maybe you do every once in a while by going out. But I was glad that Phaedra kind of mentioned that, and she sort of clarified, like, that's where I am in my life, and I think she did that because it was mentioned last season that Phaedra went out with Dr. G, and there was the whole thing of she asked Dr. G for $4,000, and Dr. G was saying he really couldn't afford Phaedra at that time because he was just sort of getting started in his career, and they were kind of wondering if something happened between Dr. G and Phaedra. So I think it was kind of like she was just clarifying, like, look, I'm not that girl. I'll go out with you. I'll have a good time. You can pay for this dinner, or you can pay for our little outing, and if I choose, I'm going on about my business. So she definitely cleared that up. So then we move on, and Dr. Jackie, Dr. Simone, and Heavenly, they arrive in Washington, D.C. And of course, they finally meet Vice President Kamala Harris. They actually went to the panel, and it was good to see, that that the vice president was actually having something like this. I thought it was really, really good. Women's health is very important. I am 48 years old, and I've had reproductive issues, and I can't imagine, I've had 2 miscarriages, and I can't imagine if something was wrong with my babies. I can't imagine being told that I have to put my health at risk, or I have to choose to carry these babies to full term if something was like really, really wrong. So I thought that just them being there as Black doctors, we need our Black doctors to help us out. Of course, this is important to all women. It doesn't matter what race you are. It's important to all women. But as a Black woman, I thought it was really, really important for us to kind of have representation there from Dr. Jackie and Dr. Simone, because it's not even a topic. It is like, this is something that was so important to women, and just for you to say that we don't even have the right to choose what we do with our bodies, that was like, it was hurtful, it was painful, but it was also like a wake-up call, and it just let us know exactly where we stand and how disrespected we are in this country. So that part of it was good. So the actual panel was for reproduction freedom. And I think with Vice President Kamala Harris taking on this task, I think it was something really big of her. And I really hope even in the near future that it's not something that's forgotten about. I hope it's something that they continue to talk about. Although, Vice President Kamala Harris is no longer in office, I just hope that, again, we continue to fight for women's rights, especially our reproductive rights. And I hope that Dr. Jackie and Dr. Simone will also continue to shed light and to give us the appropriate information when it comes to anything, on the medical side that we need to know. So I was really proud of them in that moment, and I was glad to see that all of them had a great time. I know they were excited and ecstatic to meet Vice President Harris, but even more so just to represent Black women and Black doctors with such an important topic like this. Great job, guys. I was really happy about that. So the couples are packing for the trip. And, like I said, the episode moved along pretty quickly because, again, they were trying to get them to Key West. So, after, we had that great scene with Dr. Jackie and the ladies, we move right into them. We see Dr. Contessa Scott talking about the trip, and they mentioned that they were going to be on their best behavior because, again, they did not want anyone to have a bad time, or they didn't want any tension to be added to the group because of them. So that was good. We saw where Dr. Heavenly actually reached out to Phaedra, and she said, "Hey, Phaedra," they were just talking, and she said, "Look, I was thinking of inviting Apollo because you're divorced, and maybe you can shed some light on how how it is to really communicate and get along as divorced couples, a divorced couple with children." So Phaedra said, okay, she played it off. Phaedra does not want Apollo there. Like, Apollo doesn't even come to Phaedra's. He's not even invited inside of Phaedra's house. There's no way that Phaedra wants to spend 24 hours or 48 hours or however long Apollo and his wife are going to be there. There's no way that Phaedra wants to spend that time with them, or to Apollo to sort of become part of this group and part of the group vacation. But she played it off in true Phaedra Parks fashion. I know she is like hot with Heavenly, but she played off and she just said, "Surprise me." But there will be no surprise because Heavenly had already invited Apollo. His ticket was booked and he was on his way to Key West just like everybody else. And so then we also move on to Dr. G and T. They were talking about the trip as well. And Dr. G was kind of joking around saying that he had to work. He really wasn't interested in going on the vacation. And it's all because Quad and her new man will be there. And, in his confessional, Dr. G actually kind of said that, he kind of felt like, Quad put him through so much turmoil or something like that. And I thought to myself, I didn't like that Dr. G said that. I think that, in a relationship or in a marriage, it's about two people. It's not just about one person. And yes, Quad may hold some of the fault, but she doesn't hold all of it. Dr. G, even as a psychiatrist, I'm sure that you tell, your clients and your patients, hey, you cannot go through life having this victim mentality. You have to acknowledge when you've done something wrong as well. So Dr. G, I was looking for you to acknowledge, the role that you played in, the demise of your marriage as well. It's not just all on Quad, it's on you as well. But I think that Dr. G and Quad, they never really got, I just don't think that they've actually gotten, and I'm sorry, I'm just moving my leg. I don't think that they've actually gotten the healing. I don't want to say healing. I don't think that they've been able, or Dr. G has not been able to close that chapter because of some things that Quad actually revealed about Dr. G. So I think he's very upset about that. Dr. G, Quad has definitely moved on. And I really believe that Quad wants the best for Dr. G. I don't think that Quad has an issue with Dr. G or T at all. I really, really, really don't. I think that anything that's sort of drudged up, it comes from the other ladies, mainly sort of, throwing gasoline on it. But really and truly, I think that Quad is cool with them. She's going to be part of this group. She's not, or she doesn't plan to leave anytime soon, and she's not going to allow them to affect her in a negative way. Quad seems to be very, very happy with King, and that's where her heart is, and that's what she's looking forward to, and her future is being with King. So Dr. G can kind of let it go. Any type of anger or resentment that he has against Quad, I think he should let that go, because Quad is definitely showing that she's the bigger person. Dr. G does seem to have some, resentment there. And I know, like I said, maybe some things were said and maybe it affected him. I don't know if it affected him professionally. I don't know if it's just a personal thing, but he still seems to be a little angry with Quad. But Dr. G, you have a new wife and she seems to really love you. So, I would advise you to just, focus on your marriage, focus on the wife that you have, and be happy. Try to, make a life with her, and, maybe, like I said, you two can have children, and just be happy, Dr. G. Like, don't go back. It's all about moving forward. So, Dr. G, get it together. But anyway, that was pretty much the end of that, because the couples were headed to Key West. Dr. Simone and Cecil went ahead of the group because they're actually hosting, and I love that for them. Like, production, of course, we know now how reality TV works. Production actually they set up everything. But again, Dr. Simone and Cecil are somewhat like the hosts, and Dr. Heavenly was hosting too, because when they got there, she was sort of passing out the keys to their villas or to their suites or whatever the case may be. But it was good to see Dr. Simone and Cecil there just greeting everyone. And of course, she greeted King and she gave him a hug. And Messy Toya says, well, you have to greet Dr. G with the same kind of energy. And so Dr. G was kind of standing in the background, but then Simone asked him to come up, and, they hugged or whatever, because they know each other. It's been said, Cecil and Dr. G, they play golf together and stuff like that. So Dr. G is definitely not a stranger when it comes to them. But like I said, there is a little bit of tension and a little bit of awkwardness there. And when she told all the couples to meet back at 3:00. Well, let me tell you, Dr. Simone said, oh, I'm tired already. And I laughed because I felt Dr. Simone in that moment. When when there's a group of friends or, something like that, and you're planning something, you want everyone to have a great time. You want everyone to enjoy themselves. You don't want any tension. You want everyone to get along. And, Dr. Simone was kind of taking it on. She felt the tension. She could tell that there was some, tense moments, or there was a little tension in the air. And I'm sure she felt that. So when she said that she was tired already, I understood exactly what Dr. Simone was talking about, because it can be overwhelming trying to make sure that everyone has a great time. So the couples, they had like team building exercises as always, and they teamed up. They had their t-shirts on. And so it was Dr. Simone and Cecil with Dr. Mimi and her husband Steve, and they seem pretty cool. Like, I'm sure they'll be back next season, because we really didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of them, but I'm sure they'll be back next season, so we can really get a chance to know Dr. Mimi and Steve a lot better. Seems like they kind of made a little splash, so they'll be back. And then we saw Dr. Eugene and Toya. They were actually paired up with Quad and King. And of course, like I said, this is a team building exercise. Toya and Quad really were at each other's throats in season 9, and they never really got back on track in season 10. So I'm sure that's why they were paired up. Of course, Dr. Heavenly and Damon were paired up with Scott and Contessa. No, no surprise there. I mean, they were once the best of friends, and now they have become enemies. But we're hoping that if Contessa is going to be part of the show, that they can actually move forward and not kind of keep talking about the same old things. Like, I thought it was, funny. Well, I didn't think it was funny, but I was like, typical Heavenly. She was kind of throwing Contessa some shade in her confessional when she said, well, yeah, Contessa's strong, so, the physical part of this task won't be a big deal, but it's what, the thinking part that would be the problem. Well, Dr. Heavenly, wonk wonk wonk, like that fell flat to the ground. Because one thing about it, you don't even surround yourself with what you would consider to be dumb, silly, or stupid people. Contessa is a very bright lady. She's a doctor as well. you know she's a smart girl, and you would not have been the best of friends with Contessa if she wasn't that bright. So nice try, Heavenly. But the same way Contessa has to let it go, and she has to let go of her issues with Heavenly, so does Heavenly. Heavenly has to move on from it too. And I hope that this particular trip that they will be able to move forward. And then the last group was Dr. Jackie, Curtis, Phaedra, Dr. G, and T. They were all on a team together. And Simone was just even telling Phaedra that she actually had some other shirts made, and there was one with what Phaedra said to the ladies in episode 7, like, I'm not gonna let you be eyes, bring me down. And so you know, of course, Dr. Simone had the full quote on a t-shirt. And so Quad approached Phaedra like, girl, what was up with that? Because these ladies are accomplished. They're doctors. They went to medical school. They're sort of living and working in their glory days. Like, they're at the top of their game. How could you, think that they're not like at the top of, the cream of the crop? And Phaedra basically stood in it and said, this is what I said, and I'm not backing down from it. And like I said in my review of episode 7, Phaedra does feel like she's better than these ladies. I mean, these ladies wanted her on their show, and she has nothing to do with the medical field, and she's not even in a relationship with anyone that's a doctor or in the medical field. So, Phaedra feels like she's that girl again. I mean, hey, she started off on, Ultimate Girls Trip, and then she did Traders, and, then she was called, now she was invited to join the cast of Married to Medicine, and now she's even back where it all started on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So Phaedra does have a little chip on her shoulder, and she's like, yeah, I'm that girl. And so she does not feel like these ladies are in her league, and I don't even think that she even gets along with them. She doesn't even really feel like she has a place with them. I think Phaedra feels a little bit out of place, but at the same time, I don't think Phaedra feels like as if she was welcomed that much either. So it's kind of like the feeling is mutual. So they don't really like Phaedra because they feel like you came onto our turf. So, and then Phaedra feels like, I'm here, but I'm only here because of the check. And not only that, like, I'm at the top of the list. Like, I am one of the original girlies of Bravo, and I've already made my mark. So whether you like me or not, I'm here to stay. Whether it's on your show or somewhere else, I'm here to stay. So Quad was like, well, ooh, I don't think she, she obviously she didn't get it. And Phaedra was like, yeah, I didn't. I'm not going to get it because I said what I said. And even Curtis, I don't know if he was offended, but he said, oh, did you hear what Quad said? Quad said that she doesn't get it. But the truth of the matter is Phaedra didn't get it, and she didn't want to get it, because she's telling you guys, I'm here and you're there. So anyway, so we'll see what happens with that, because I'm sure, we've already seen previews where Phaedra was telling Dr. Jackie that, hey, she's not going to stand for whatever they're putting down. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, they went on out to the marina, and they were getting ready to get in the water, and we saw some previews of what is to come. And this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. We've been waiting all season to see what happened with Dr. G and King, and it looks like that will come up in the next episode. So stay tuned, and I will definitely be back to discuss it with you all. So again, thank you for tuning in. Because that was really the episode. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment. I know some people I know that's not everyone's thing. I do get that. I totally get it, but I would like to interact with you. I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy interacting with people. I know that we're not going to always have, the same opinion. Some people will agree with me, some of them won't. And that's okay. I may learn something from you. You may say something and it causes me to think about things differently. And I hope that I can do that for you as well. But again, I'm here. and I'm ready to just interact with everyone that watches the videos. So again, just thank you for your support. If you don't say anything, I still appreciate you so very much, because I know you're still taking your time to listen. So again, have a wonderful week. I am going to be doing some other things and talking about some other things, but in the meantime, just stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.